Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's another special guest episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the last one with Ryan. And yeah, I got to reconnect with Dalton Barrow. He goes also by Oblivion. That is his DJ music name. He was on the podcast a while ago. I think it's been a couple of years, which is crazy to think it's been that long already. And yeah, we stay in touch on Instagram, talk to each other periodically. And yeah, we just connected recently about doing another episode. And here it is. So thank you, Dalton, for being on the show. It's cool having people return. There's been a handful of people who've come back on the show a couple times. And yeah, you're gonna get up there with my friend Benji, who's been on three times. But yeah, guys, this is my talk with Dalton, and yeah, here it is. But anyway, yeah, man. So what do you wanna are people asking you all the time, like, what are you doing with your life?
Dude,
Like,
they're asking all that stuff. They actually they were asking about I had so many people after the first episode like DM me because obviously we were like running promo off of that new episode going up and
okay,
I got so many people listening to it and they're like I think there was a lot of stuff talking about like struggling mentally and stuff like that and the amount of people that like reached out to me saying like yo, I feel the same way, like you're not alone and then like so many people just reaching out and like with overall support saying like we feel this way too. It's like finally someone's talking about
right,
to this extent because I think with mainstream media there's a lot of censorship around like men's mental health, which I've noticed recently a lot more.
okay, hmm,
um, that I wish they would like talk about it more. I think
right,
it's important for that audience of people that really do struggle every single day to just be able to express himself better. So for my case, music, but maybe I like seeing there's a lot more artists talking about it. A lot more like athletes I've seen talking about the mental health aspect of each sport that I think is super interesting. The light they're bringing to the topic, I think is great.
okay, yeah, hmm. Well, what do you? Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, I'm a man too, and I got a podcast about mental health. And I mean, not that it's all about men, but I mean, my perspective is
Right.
always going to be like from a man's perspective. But what do you mean by? Well, I know what censor, wow, I can't even say it, dude. Centaur. It's a centaur. Just kidding.
Centaur. Yeah.
A man horse. In Lord of the Rings or something. No, but well, censorship is, I mean, is like kind of like a related to many things like misinformation or political stuff, right? Like, but you mean like the man, the court, the world that's run by the empire, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I did see Gladiator 2 and it was dope. So you
Was
should,
it? I was gonna watch it. I didn't get a
yeah, you
chance
should go
to
see
yet.
it. Yeah, it was cool. I saw it with a good friend and I honestly wasn't super pumped up about it with the trailer. I felt like the
Yeah, it
trailer,
felt flat a little
it
bit.
did feel like, and I think it's like it's such a high. So the first one came out in the year 2000. So I was like,
Right.
that's a while, but the first one's like one of the best movies of all time. And then you're just like, really gonna make a sequel? But it actually was pretty good. Like it
Sequels
wasn't.
worry me, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then also trailers give away too much of the
Yeah.
movies. But so yeah, what do you mean by censorship? You're talking about like not, what does that mean to what do you mean like you're observing people just not being able to share their
Um,
stories or what? What do
Mainly
you
that. It's I've known a lot of people personally that speak out about, struggles with like suicide and like
right.
genuinely losing like feelings, I guess kind of like that feeling of I forgot what it was the exact term it was, but it was like feeling like you're not like real or something, dehumanization or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Where a lot of artists that I work with too talked about it and kind of just lost their entire platform just because a lot of brands don't like to work with serious topics like that sometimes because they feel it's more of sometimes a political aspect to talk about. If I don't understand the basics of it, I just know that there have been a lot of people I know that have kind of been deplatformed because they've spoken out about how they feel inside and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So I just like speaking about what I feel because I just don't really care.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. And you're well, maybe we talked about this the first episode, but like, do you take any medication for anything, or are you just kind of dealing with it without that?
Well, I've been like officially, I don't know about since the first episode about new additions. I know I recently got
Right.
100% diagnosed with they were like pretty severe depression and like anxiety issues and like pretty deep rooted trauma, like with feelings of abandonment and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I know that I've always had pretty bad ADHD, so I was medicated for I want to say like a year or two, and then I kind of just didn't like how it made me feel. I felt controlled all the time and slow, so I just kind
Okay.
of like stopped taking the meds, and then we just got me off of it completely.
Okay. All right. So ADHD, and how do you feel? What was that process like coming off of it? Because that, I mean, if you're not on something for a ton of time, my assumption is that it's easier to come off of it because
Yeah,
these
I mean,
meds are so powerful. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm still on meds, so
no, they're
it's
crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's a,
It was rough, man. It was
okay.
like I think that kind of started the whole. Um, I have pretty bad like overthinking stuff where I just like can't stop thinking. That's always been ADHD. It made it stop though, and then I think multiple occasions caused me to get taken advantage of because I didn't really think about what I was doing, and I kind of realized that being medicated for me just wasn't right because I felt like I have this like mind that is a 90% negative 100%, but there's a 10% that does good things where it when I overthink it causes me to see like every side of the picture. So being medicated, I only saw like the 10% that I think I was able to see because I could only think of one, choice that I could see, which was,
Hmm.
oh, let's sign this deal with them because they can't be all bad. And I didn't overthink like I normally do, which would be, why are they this bad? What could they do? What do they have access to? All these other different things that I think about now. I have not gotten taken advantage of in the music industry once since I've been off meds, but when I was,
Hmm.
I got taken advantage like 3 or 4 times by like
Okay.
labels that wanted to take my music and stuff like that. So I just felt more free coming off of it, and then it caused like pretty bad mood swings getting off of. I don't know what exactly it was. I think it was Adderall based or something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, it was rough getting off of it. But I know people that have gone off their meds after they've been on for like 8 or 9 years, and it's been like really bad.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've talked about it on here with like some solo episodes where, yeah, it can make you feel, uh, it's hard because it's like people say, like, oh, there's side effects, right? And then there's someone I was listening to on a podcast, and it's like, it's not really side effects, it's just the effect, right? Especially when
Right.
you're on it for a while. And, um, but your reason for getting on it was because you felt the symptoms were like not manageable, and then now you're finding ways to manage it.
Originally, I was put on it because people, like in my inner circle, were more
Right.
of. I've always had issues with like focusing, I guess, for like long
Right.
periods of time. That's the main, I guess, thing for me. You see, like can't sit still, always moving. Anxiety was always one because my mind moves really fast, and that was the main reason they put me on. Is they're like, hopefully this will chill him out and like relax him because the antidepressants have so much other like
Right.
stigmatisms with them, I guess. I don't know. They're always the
Yeah.
things with antidepressants. So they're like, let's just put them on the ADHD stuff, whatever that may be. And then
Right.
I guess they hoped it would go better, but it didn't.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's hard because it for a lot of people, they go on stuff because of a real crisis, right? Like we're talking about suicide, or I mean, like we can talk about that, but like someone being suicidal, it's not like, okay, 100% of the time, what's going to help them, not be suicidal is a psych, like lithium, for example, has been around. I think it's like the oldest psych med. But it's like bad for your, I think your kidneys. So you got to get like blood work, but supposedly it helps people not have suicidal thoughts, which sounds like a strange idea, right? It's like you're
Right.
not wanting to live. And is that rooted in like something that's not chemical, right? Like feeling rejected from people or lonely or, fill in the blank. And then really, I'm going to take this thing. It's going to make my thoughts go less. But for some people, it's complicated because if it helps you get through a crisis and helps you stay alive, you know what I mean? Like people want me to be around and people want you to be around and anyone listening to this that's struggling. So, but yeah, if you can find a way to manage these things without that. Like, so what do you do to help the ADHD? Or I mean, what's that? That's interesting to me. Like, like
Yeah, 100%. Well, as for dealing with it, I kind of like to embrace it, I guess.
okay,
Like when I overthink, I kind of just like to go all in, I guess you could say, where it's if I'm overthinking about something, like let's think about it. Let's not try to cope in a way of like push it aside, bury it deep down, don't think about it. I think for me anyway, and maybe for other people out there, the healthiest way that I found is just like embrace what you're scared of or embrace what's bothering you or giving you anxiety, because for me it is only ever going to get worse. So think about what the worst possible outcome could be and prepare yourself for it, so when it happens you're not all surprised and like unready for it, and then if something better happens it's going to be lighter off of your like soul. It's going to be less painful to deal with. And like one thing too that I've had is learning to detach emotions like quickly from certain stuff. So like personally, you won't ever take stuff to heart and get harmed, especially being in like the influencer space, I guess you could call it, is when you get
mm-hmm,
like all the comments you do. It's just don't ever take it personally. Don't really
right,
read it. Detach your emotions very fast from, I guess, the reality that is like the online world or something.
yeah, yeah. So you mean because you're taking your music and you're putting it on social media like Instagram or TikTok, and then you're saying people comment on when you release music or just
Oh,
anything?
100%. It's
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I release YouTube videos, promotional stuff is kind of controversial sometimes for obviously like attention stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of just, I've had a lot of people, they just say the same stuff. It's not really original. It's just the whole like, you're emo. Like, ooh, you're all sad all the time, stuff like that. And it's like,
Hmm.
originally I was all bothered by it, but after a while I'm just kind of like, sure, like I am, yeah, I'm pretty emotional, I'm pretty sad, yeah, but I don't write these songs for other people. I write them for me. I write them so I have a place to put my pain.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, well, I think that's a good way to be creative is like it's kind of like if people like it, they like it. If they don't, but you're kind of in a little bit of a selfish way, just doing it for yourself, right?
Right.
Did you kind of okay? So no, because we haven't had you on. Well, we haven't talked on this for a while, and we mostly just talk on Instagram. But like, didn't you go through like a relationship thing? I think I
Dude,
was. I think I was worried about you because you were like posting brokenhearted.
dude,
Sorry, it's
there's
not.
been,
It's not funny. I mean, maybe it's
no, it's really, it's like,
it's funny
it's
now
pretty
because you're doing
funny.
better.
Yeah, it's hilarious now because I'm
We
like, I look
always,
back, I'm like,
yeah.
oh my god, that's crazy.
Sure.
Like,
Well, yeah, things aren't funny in the moment of like
no,
whatever, but
it
then you look
was,
back and you laugh at some things. Like, really, I did that, but
dude,
you were going through it.
it was so, it was a pretty bad period. It kind of was like before I guess we kind of met. It's been for like the past like 5 6 years where it's been
Okay.
um personal like at home issues that I don't think I legally can like talk about it right now. It requires like me relocating to Ohio in like the coming weeks and stuff like that.
Oh,
Um
really? Yeah. Well, yeah.
there's
Don't
yeah,
share
there's
anything
yeah, I'm
that
not
you're
gonna share all
not
that, but
supposed to.
there's
Wait, related to your family?
yeah, related to family and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
like
Okay.
that. So
Okay. Gotcha.
there's
Gotcha.
that's always messed with me. The relationship stuff, I was in, I think, from the age of like 15 to like where I'm currently at 17 is like 2 years. I was in 10 relationships that I hoped were like serious, and every single one of them I got cheated on in, which like totally screwed up how I trusted people. Um, the last one had been the worst because it had been my ex with like one of my best friends and stuff like that that we've kind of spoken like about who that kid is and stuff like that.
Okay.
um and um it was just like a bad situation where I kind of shut myself off from everybody in fear of having more double crossings, and um just I didn't trust anybody for a really long time. And
Hmm.
uh, I met my current girlfriend in June, maybe a little before that, and we've been together for 6 months, and it's just been that's like the longest relationship, first of all, for me ever, but it's been a
Okay.
lot better.
Oh, okay. That's cool, man. I didn't know that you're with somebody. You guys, where'd you guys meet? Like a part of school?
We met. I was friends with like I was trying to like get close to her friend because I had like an interest in her friend, and then
Okay.
her friend like hard rejected me and I was like, ooh, that's rough. So we had like a whole like fight or whatever, and
Right.
then she originally was gonna like try to play with my feelings, like get back at me for what I guess she thought her friend had done.
Okay.
And then she kind of just randomly fell for me, and then I fell for her.
She's just trying to. This sounds like a Taylor Swift song,
Sure, we'll call it that.
or any. I mean, she's like the go-to default. Anybody who's writing any. This sounds like Dashboard Confessional, which was a band that
Yeah.
I was really into when I was in high school, and it was he got a little bit he got more positive, but like the album I got into, it was all like I was like, these are all breakup songs, dude. There's
Dude,
nothing positive in any of these.
dude.
And then he put out more music and it was a little bit more like, okay,
A
well,
little happier, yeah.
yeah, so that's cool. So you guys are
Yeah.
she tried to mean girl you.
She tried to hardcore Mean Girl me, and then she just couldn't help it.
They like remade that movie, but I haven't seen
Oh, I heard it was
the
awful.
Oh, you heard the remake was yeah, I haven't I think it's on like Paramount Plus or something.
It's like on some TV network or whatever. And I
Oh,
was
you
like,
watched
whatever,
it?
man. No, I didn't watch it. I was not going to. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's hard to yeah, some I don't so, yeah, anyway, we talk about lots of things. But yeah, the a lot of people are yeah, Hollywood does do the thing where they just are like we're remaking this movie. We're rebooting this from
So
30 years
unnecessary
ago.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like well, there are people like your age that haven't seen a lot of things that were like,
Right.
like
Popping back then.
yeah, I mean, did you ever see like Goonies? That's
I've
like
heard
in
of
the
it.
80s. It's like 80s, 90s or something like that. And then there like all this talk about like bringing that back and you're like, well, yeah. I mean, Mean Girls came out when you
It's like
were
2000s.
yeah, you were like just born probably or something. It was
Yeah,
like the it was
probably.
like when I was in high school. So wait, when were you born again?
2006.
Oh man, no way.
God, I'm
So
such a
yeah.
child, man.
Yeah, but like you said, you oh, you were saying it on the episode. we did, or where you were like you mostly hang out with talk to older people, people who are
Yeah,
older than you, right? Is that still how
yeah, I'm
you're
not
doing
like groomed
things?
or anything. It's just like it's just
Yeah,
that's just how it is. I don't know. I just get I don't know, maturity wise, I guess I get along with those people. It's just I don't know.
I got you. But wait, you're 18 now?
Yeah,
Okay. When was your birthday?
December like
Oh,
for,
you just had a birthday?
yeah.
Oh, dude, I had a birthday November 13th, so we're,
Oh yeah, we're not that
like,
far.
so you're December 1st? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you allowed to say your birthday?
I could tell you my real birthday is the 25th, but I always say December 1st because I celebrate it with everybody the first. So I basically just consider
Oh, I
myself like
gotcha.
I don't
Okay.
say the 25th because who celebrates a birthday on
Oh,
Christmas?
you're a Christmas. Wow. I feel
Yeah, I
like
was cursed.
you I mean, yeah, it is kind of a wow on Christmas Day though. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
It's
anything that's
awful.
like the week of Christmas
Yeah, or
for
like
sure is a little bit
I know a
hard.
lot of people that have it the 27th, and I'm like, that's not as bad, but you're like tired still from Christmas. Like
Yeah,
everyone's gonna
well,
leave for traveling and stuff like that. You know,
yeah,
it's
you just try to people default to just combining. Is that so what so do you do the thing where you do like birthday month and celebrate because that's like the whole month of December for you or
I normally
birthday
just celebrate
week?
it the first. It's literally
Oh,
just
okay.
I
Okay.
just do like, oh yay, turn December, let's celebrate me, and
Nice.
then the rest of the month I'm just like I'm gonna focus on like the cold. I don't know
A cult?
the cold.
Oh, the cold. Okay. Well, is it cold where you're at? I mean, we're both in
It's
Kansas.
freezing. This is Arizona and it's cold. I don't understand why. It's like
Well, you're like
60 every morning.
oh, that's not really that cold though
It's cold
compared
for me.
to. Yeah, I mean, I might have told you this before, but like I grew up in like Colorado, lived in like
Right.
Minnesota before that, and then, Fort Collins, Denver. I mean, like so basically all of high school. So, and then yeah, adolescence, high school seasons. Colorado's not as bad as like Minnesota, and then after high school, I was in Kansas City, Missouri, so I'm still a Chiefs fan, although I'm kind of a
Oh
bad
yeah.
fan. And yeah, and then but then now I've been in Cali like pretty much 10 years,
Yeah.
and now it's like all of my tolerance for the cold. Excuse me, I'm getting old, so I get tired in the middle of the day. Um, yeah, and yeah, so but you're that because Arizona is well, you're where are you again? You're in like Phoenix?
I'm in like Phoenix, yeah.
Because what yeah, because it's like California where it's so hot in the summers, it doesn't really get cold.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
it's a little
I don't
bit
know.
different where you're at. I don't
It's
know.
kind of it's for us. It's awful. It's just like it's either extremely hot, which is like every month except for October and on, and then it kind of just like rests at 70, and then right now it's been like 40 in the mornings, and then like resting 60. And for
Okay.
me, and I've always worn like really heavy like hoodies, like in like 120-degree weather, because I'm really weird like that.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm
Oh,
like
you're
adapted
rocking them
to
in
it.
the summer like that?
I literally have like
Oh,
my closet's only hoodies, and I only
nice.
wear that.
I like hoodies too. I'm wearing a hoodie right now. But yeah, I mean, we don't really have heat in our house. It's just so. Oh.
No heat in your house is ridiculous during winter.
Yeah, I think like there's a heater, but it like doesn't work or something. It's actually not too bad. It's just like yeah, I just got to kind of have like sweaters on inside sometimes. But yeah, so people are we were saying earlier, you're like, well, I was gonna ask you too. Wait, what 18-year-old things are, oh wait, you're not 18 yet though. I say what 18-year-old things are you going to do? Like what can people do now? Well, you can vote.
Uh,
So you couldn't
I can
vote.
vote. It doesn't work anymore. I missed it by like a month.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just so now your first official election. Well, you could vote on the off years. So
Yeah.
the so it would be It's like the off years, it's like 2 years from now or something like that.
I believe that's what it is, but
Yeah.
whatever it is, I mean, cool.
Yeah. So what 18-year-old things are you wanting to do
Um, first thing
that
with
are, healthy things?
okay. I don't know what the age for certain stuff. I'm assuming some is 21, but I've probably just completely lost my mind. But first thing I want to do, which everyone's probably gonna like tell me no, is I want like a tattoo
You want a tattoo?
so bad. I
Okay.
want it
Okay.
so much. So.
What's the plan? Like one tattoo or like full on,
I think I'm gonna get addicted pretty fast, but I
sleeve?
know what I want. I want on my like left arm. I think it's kind of dumb, but I kind of really want it. Is like right here. I want to get like 4 hearts for my dog's name. Just like my dog's name is Jake, by the way. That is an Adventure Time reference. Just like 4 hearts or whatever for my dog, and
Okay.
then eventually probably what everyone's telling me not to is just from like here all the way up to my shoulder, just like blacked out.
Nice, man. I just had to look up Adventure Time. That's how uncool I am.
Oh man,
Adventure Time, it's like a cartoon.
yeah, Jake the dog.
It says 10 seasons.
It's great. It's
Okay, and
one
it's
of the greatest shows
on.
ever.
Oh yeah, you can look up. Oh, it's on. Okay, HBO Max. Okay,
Yes, I'm
Adventure
Max.
Time. Are you uh, are you into anime by chance or no?
I'm into a few animes.
Oh, okay. I feel like I was just talking about this with somebody. And when I worked with the foster kids, I worked at foster kid job last year, and like a year, the fall of 2023, and that's where I broke my foot. I told you about that, right?
Oh
I
yeah, I
broke my
remember that.
foot.
It's a
Yeah.
long recovery.
Yeah, man, I ran into a pillar, but yeah, so you want to get lots of tattoos, and then the anime thing was I used to talk about with some of the kids there, they were like into like Attack on Titan, and then I was like, where do you
Hmm.
watch anime? You know?
Most of it's on Max or like Crunchyroll, I guess, but Crunchyroll's like $100 like a month
Oh,
or
I've
something.
heard of that. That's like
Ridiculous.
it's like the anime Netflix
The
or
anime,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah.
So yeah, what's next for you? Like, so are you just like itching to be done with school because it's what, 6 months away now?
I'm itching to be done with school. Just yeah,
Okay.
pretty much that. I want to get out of here. I want to like stop doing school every day. I want to work. I want to
Yeah.
make my music. I want to
Okay. Nice.
push out.
Where do you want to go when you say get out of here? You mean get out of Arizona? Because you
Mainly
said you broke.
Arizona. The
Okay.
weather it's so bad here. I'm so sick of it. The mainly I like the creativity of that I'll be able to have like when I'm independent, when I'm 18 and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's pretty dope. I'm working on a band with my friend that
Nice.
being like in Cleveland with him will be so easy for like pushing that stuff out. Um, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Just the creative process to kind of flow because it's obviously a lot harder when we're sending like vocals back and forth on text and stuff like that.
Okay. And so what do you do in the band? You're
Well, we haven't released like anything yet. We're shooting for
okay.
January because we're gonna try to make this the big like break, I guess, for both of us.
Okay.
But we're calling it "And Then What" because we think it's hilarious. Like if you were to present us at like the Grammys or something, you'd have to say like, "Please welcome up next, and then what?" That's ridiculous. You like
Nice.
all the talk show people, just saying like please welcome to our show, and then what? You look ridiculous, but that's what
Okay.
we think is great.
Okay.
It's mainly we're working on being the number one in hyperpop. That's our goal,
Okay.
which is like I guess hyperpop metalcore. We've done some pretty sad piano stuff that's all emotion stuff like that. Just he's a lot like me, where it's speaking through your music and your lyrics and all that stuff. So hoping that
Okay.
absolutely takes
Nice.
off. Yeah.
And do you guys live in the same place or no? No, you said he's
Right now we don't, yeah, but
yeah,
we
yeah.
will be in like a few weeks.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, it's cool that you feel like you spend most of your time on music stuff.
Definitely, or just creating in general. I don't
Yeah.
really do other stuff.
Yeah, what is your level of like absorbing and being inspired by things versus like you're just kind of doing stuff like creating because that's always the I mean, I'm sure you're always listening. You know what I mean? Like, are you doing a lot of taking in things that inspire you, or are you just spending most of your time just doing,
Yeah,
without that?
well, I'd say like a good level of my stuff is like I guess inspired by um like emo culture, like MGK or like I don't know, just artists like that, like sad artists that are pretty well known for their lyrics and stuff like that.
Hmm.
For I don't know how to describe it, but just any artist that writes really depressing, sad music, I kind of take inspiration from with like lyrics, but um I mainly get like all my creativity or inspiration from like the stuff I go through or like real life trauma or like events and stuff like that,
Right.
or
Nice.
just thoughts in my head, I guess.
Yeah. Our friend Tim Concio, who, he's a part of my church and he's a friend, and I go to his Wednesday night um humanity group too. I've been going since like August-ish, sometime in
Yeah,
August. So it's cool. I get to kind of see him at that. Whereas before I just mostly saw him at church and stuff. But like, and he told me about Fred again. Do you know who that is?
oh my god, Fred's, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking this up and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I've heard some of his stuff and I'm like, dang, this guy is cool. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, Fred's awesome.
Yeah, you guys could do a concert together. But
I wish.
yeah, man, so when you put out these mental health things, you get a lot of feedback from your friends. You're saying when we did well, I guess we did two things together. We did the StreamYard and then we did on Zoom and I put that on
On
YouTube.
like,
So we got to
yeah,
record twice, but that's cool that you got people sharing with you like, you know.
yeah, it's always such great like feedback from just people that watch that kind of just feel the same. I think that's so dope to see.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are struggling, man, and I think it's I guess social media can be a way for people to connect, but also kind of like the thing you were saying earlier about the comments, like
It's
you're
bittersweet.
yeah, you're sitting there reading reading the comments and it's so easy for people to not be them who they really are, in the comments, right? Like the meanness or the shrewdness or whatever, and then you're like, really? Would you say that to me if I
No,
saw
it's
you, and
yeah, it's what the internet was meant for, the like anonymous comfort of being like a
right,
nobody or whatever. So
right.
yeah, it's easy to just leave like a comment, but I'm like all these people that say stuff, if you were like face to face, the chances, I mean, you probably would, some people probably would say the stuff they say, but like
Yeah, it's probably a small percentage that would
it's a
be
small
like would
percentage.
say
Yeah.
that, yeah. And but don't you think it's like I mean it's important for people to talk about it. I mean, we're doing a podcast right now talking about
Yeah.
some of this stuff, but and but there's such a filter um there's such a filter that people have to go through absorbing all of these different apps and stuff where you know what I mean? You have to kind of like filter through a lot of silly slash bad stuff to get to like, whoa, that was a real cool 2 minute, video on suicide prevention. And that, you know what I mean? Like your feed's not just full of like, you know, awesome stuff. I mean, or I don't know, maybe so you have to
Yeah,
filter
maybe
a
who
lot,
knows,
but
but
it does seem to be the easiest way. for people to um connect. But like when you talk about past traumas, or are you using that word trauma? What does that mean? Like, are you do you see yourself on like some kind of healing path, like with a therapist or something, or are you just talking about like, life is hard as a teenager and
I think that's like what a lot of people could say, like the oh, like you're a teenager, like you don't really get that kind of stuff. But like
right? Well, no, I
I'm,
don't think that's true. But yeah, yeah,
I've had some people that's like
yeah,
that's the
sure.
general. They're like there's some people that just don't fully know what like I've gone through. Where it's like a lot of it, I guess, is self made. There's like a lot of like self insecurities. Like I was adopted personally, so um, one of the main like I guess thoughts in my mind all the time are always just like they gave you up because like they didn't ever want you and stuff like that, and
Mm,
then just
okay.
constantly telling myself most of the stuff isn't like it's been reinforced a lot by people in my life, but I can't go too into that part, but it's more of like I don't have hatred for like anybody in this world except for like myself for some reason, and it's always been just not feeling like I am good enough, or like not feeling that I'm worth
Mm,
anything. And then
mm,
that was when in like 2019, 2020, something like that, that I like attempted the first time. And it
okay.
was like the darkest time of my life because I had just had my first ever like serious relationship, and they had like cheated, like snaked me, took money, and then left me just thinking that I was not good enough. Because one thing I guess I could talk about this one thing where it's that one of the main like situations that I've always had has been just not receiving like any like validation, like that like you're loved, or like
Hmm.
never being told that, I guess. So
You mean
being
like,
told
oh, from your
by like
parents?
yeah, or
Oh,
like
yeah, or other people
anybody,
too. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like in a relationship, like that was the first time I was really like told that, and then getting cheated on, like finding out that it was like a lie. It was like maybe no one does love me, and then
Hmm.
dealing with that 10 more times in a row, the exact same thing, but like worse each time, and with people closer and closer to me. Um, the pain doesn't really ever go away. It just you kind of numb yourself to it, and then it really screws you up in a way that I don't think people understand. Like with my current girlfriend, I don't know how she's stuck with me for 6 months when like I constantly push and push, and like kind of just going like, when are you gonna leave? Because I'm so used to being left over anything I do wrong,
Hmm.
and cheated on with like no purpose whatsoever, just because I guess it's easy to do with me because I fall and trust really quickly, and then
Hmm.
finally closing myself off to that when I think it is the right person. I guess
Right.
it's like a whole thing where that stuff just causes like the ADHD to start spinning, and then the overthinking, then the anxiety, then the depression comes in, and then like that's when the physical and like health stuff come in, where it's like then I stop eating, and then I want to like cut again, and then it's like if
Hmm.
you do that, you're going to the hospital and all that stuff, I guess.
Right. So, yeah, thanks for sharing, man. I mean, not trying to relive the rehash or relive the trauma. I mean, I've told my suicide story, 1,000 times.
Tim's made me cry. His was bad too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's you're saying a lot of things that are important to try to understand, which is like, yeah, where does the value and the worth come from, right? Because I think, yeah, I think it does start with your childhood of like your parents, and then we spend so much time in school around other people, and like peers is like another level, right? And then both, it's like every area that you can get the resource of the value from also then can be places where we don't experience that, right? Where you experience like rejection, and even to the social media point that we were talking about, like, oh, it's like weird people leaving mean comments, but for some people they could be like only looking at to that stuff, and then that kind of is like a scary that's a
Yeah.
scary thought, but like, does that make sense though? Like, where do you think you can find, because I've wondered that, and I've heard people share that when I've been in like support groups or things, or even probably on this podcast, like, okay, well, you would assume that someone being suicidal hates themselves, doesn't want to live, doesn't have any self-worth conversation going on. Um, but then it's like people could be suicidal from like a really good, loving, healthy family. And
Yeah, those are unpredictable and those are the scariest 100%.
right, but you when was the last time you felt in that kind of headspace of like, oh, I'm getting these thoughts, maybe you're not acting on them, but like you said 2018 was
That was 2019, 2020. Sometime between then was when I attempted the first time, and that was the first time I ever like acted on it.
okay.
Um, but then I think like this morning, like I always have these thoughts of like
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do, but I just don't really act upon them. I've
Okay.
really I kind of stopped because this is why it's so weird. Is my current girlfriend what she said when we first started dating, because she kind of found out pretty quickly that like I'm not okay or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was basically like, um, I forgot something had happened. It was I need to close my eyes to remember it because it's like blurry, but
Yeah, it's all right.
something had happened at home where there was like I didn't feel safe here, and the only way I felt like I could, I guess, take out what I felt was just by like there's no knives like accessible to like me because I'm like this, so I went into my desk and I grabbed out like scissors and just started scraping it across my arm like over and over again, just to get this like anger and like just like pure emotion out. And like she just kind of like was on FaceTime and she was dead quiet and just watching me, kind of like seeing me at my worst. And she kind of looked at me. I made sure I was fine, and she was like, "If you ever do that again, I'll do it to myself and I'll make you watch." And that's when I kind of realized that
Hmm.
like something's like not fine with
Right.
me, and that like maybe for once my actions are affecting like someone else that I care about. And I haven't even like touched like anything sharp since then because I don't want that for
Right.
her.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, thanks for sharing, man. I mean, I don't relate to cutting. I mean, I understand that there's uh you're looking for some kind of relief doing that, you know?
Well, I'll explain like more of why it's that
Right.
I wouldn't personally like some people like punch holes in their walls and stuff like that. Like there's different ways to deal with, I guess, that kind of stuff, but that's ultimately like a much worse outcome, I feel like, for other people, because I don't I have a weird thing where I don't like seeing other people suffer or like struggle no matter who they are. I don't enjoy that at all. That's worse than anything for me. I don't really personally care about like what happens to myself, so the first thing I would do is just like take it out on me, immediately
Mm,
thinking that I'm the issue in that situation.
right.
Uh in the beginning it was, well, if I were to do it now, it would be because I have this thing where, I mean, it definitely comes with the disassociating like emotions with myself. it would probably be to feel like something, because I really have like numbed myself to a point where I feel barely anything about. I maybe feel love for this one
Hmm.
person all the time, and that's it. That's the only time I really feel joy or like a sense of that. So I guess like
Hmm.
cutting just allows you to feel anything, because I felt mental pain for so long that that allows you to feel something, I guess.
Right.
Obviously, I don't ever recommend that. It's the you should never do that, but
Right. Right.
I'm explaining the psychology behind why I personally like would.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, I hear you saying that there's like a numbness and like a flatness maybe to things, whereas if feeling love could be, um, well, is powerful, because I think that that's like one of the most powerful experiences that we can have as people, is the exchange of people loving us and then us loving them back. And like that's kind of a place of connection and joy. But um yeah, not everybody, well, that's a struggle, right? And then you're saying it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a cycle, like you're feeling kind of numb and flat, and then you do that to feel something, right? But you're not in that space right now.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, well, you're not alone really in any of this. I mean, and I struggle too. I think it's just trying to surround yourself with people that can, I think, show that stuff for you. I mean, you're saying you're experiencing that with this relationship, but
Okay.
like beyond that, right? I think too, you probably know this, but like I feel like I'm a pretty sensitive person, right?
Yeah.
And sensitivity to emotions, I think there's this highly sensitive people or something, that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Probably a highly sensitive person, and sometimes we hear the word sensitive, we might think like,
Weak.
no, I'm a man, I'm not
Yeah.
sensitive, and it's like, so that helps you uh be an artist, because, but but then it makes you really kind of feel things just kind of all the time. Is that, do you relate to that?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
all the time. And
Right.
like
Right.
one thing I experienced that I hope somebody out there can relate to,
Right.
is like crying to the point where it's like eventually you can't anymore, when you really are so sad, you're just drained, but you can't. Like I'm basically unable to cry. Like I used to be able to cry on command. I used to be able to like cry when I was sad. Now I just like can't. And I don't understand why that is, but it's like I'm so drained or something that I can't like cry anymore. I probably would have if I was telling that story, but like I just don't.
Yeah, you don't feel even emotion as a response to sharing something that should make you feel, well, should's an interesting word, because should can feel shameful, or there's judgment in that word, like I should have done this or I should feel a certain way. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, life is hard. I mean, well, yeah, and I think to back to the point about, and I don't mean to say life is hard, like life is hard, just give up, right? Because that's, I don't even think you're giving up, right? Somebody who you wouldn't ask, hey, let's do a podcast and
No.
let's have some fun and talk about fun things like anime and tattoos, but let's also talk about the real things that are going on with us.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving up either. I mean, yeah, had gaps in doing my podcast because I'm not always, you know, up for like I want to talk to people about hard stuff and or I want to be vulnerable, but then I get into these conversations with people and I go, oh yeah, this is really helpful to hear other people's struggles. And yeah, there's a thing that's like, hey, how can I fix this person? It's like that's not what you need, or whatever. You're just wanting to share, which I appreciate, and I think people listening will appreciate. But yeah, I do think it's good that you're not going down the path of acting out on it, but I think the question would be more like, yeah, how do you and me and anyone listening, like if you relate to feeling numb or flat, how do you change that? Right? Because we talked earlier about like the medication
Yeah.
kind of making that feeling complicated, right? And then now you're like, you don't have that, but then, yeah, how do you not
Um,
feel numb, right? What do you think?
well, I mean, obviously, for some people, medication does work, and for those people, I think that's great. That's the easiest, probably, way to go about that. But I think what I found actually that's worked pretty well is just focus on work or focus on whatever you're passionate about that'll distract you from whatever you're feeling like in here. Just like do something else to distract you. Like for me, I think it was turning to like God for like a pretty good portion of
Right.
when I hit my worst. I was desperate and I was like, I need something. And then I started praying and I talked to Tim like every day. And I was like, what do I do? And he was like, pray, like ask him to just like ask him for a relationship. That's what he wants. So um, I did that, and then the whole situation happened with my girlfriend's like friend or whatever, and that was more of I thought in my mind I was like God, I turned to you. Why are you punishing me? And then he gave like my girlfriend to me, and I was kind of thinking like I think that religion for me has been one of the main things that's helped me get out of the darkest hole.
Right.
Pause. But it's
Right.
been like like that has helped the most because like that's given me like a reason to stay here.
Right.
So I think religion helps. I think like what you just said, talking about it with people because you
Right.
never really, especially with guys, we don't talk about it too much. So I think that
Yeah.
talking about it with friends, talking about it with people you trust and know you can trust and care about, like those people are always there to help. Sometimes random people too, like in comment sections, you said a lot of it is unfortunately negative, but there is a
Right.
pretty positive portion of people that are out there that I really think some of the comments will come back to this maybe and they'll say like you're not alone, there's always people out there that are good humans that like you can find, and if you build the right community up 100%, I think they'll be there.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, well, connecting with God. I mean, yes, I relate to that. This whole podcast is about merging my faith with, these mental health things because it's all connected. Obviously, some people don't acknowledge like going to 12-step meetings, right? They call it the higher power versus,
Yeah.
God of the Christian Bible. And it's kind of just like, well, whatever works, man. I mean, if it helps you, but yeah, it's God does have plans for us, has a plan, and God is good and love, and that, but then that gets expressed and found out and discovered through the people around you too. So it's like both ways. It's not 100% just like I have this relationship with God and I don't need anybody, you know. But then you can, maybe just be uh, ignore God and then just try to figure everything out with the other people. And there's kind of something missing in that too, And so, but yeah, I would think it would be it's helpful for us to experience something your self-worth and my self-worth does, I mean, in my opinion, and I think other people would agree that like that does come from God, like your value. I mean, it's coming through other people too. So I think if you take God out of the equation, maybe we are left with a lot of depression, or just our identity is we can be confused,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, man, I appreciate you hitting me up. I know, I can't
Yeah.
believe it's been like a couple of years.
It's been a couple
Pretty
of years,
much,
man.
right?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, for some reason I thought we had done this in like like around this time on the StreamYard, because I did some other things with a couple of another person for his sobriety episode, this a friend at church, and I was like, and I did a thing with her and that, so I don't know, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, it feels like I was like, wow, it's 2 years. So now you're an adult, dude.
yeah.
Almost, right?
Almost.
Hit me up when you're an adult, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Hit me up and we'll go smoke some cigarettes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, bro. We'll
You're
have
probably
a
you're
party.
probably I know, it's so funny. You're like, really, an 18-year-old kid hasn't smoked a cigarette because he's not 18? Actually, I
Ooh.
think it's 21 in some states, but yeah.
I
Kids,
don't know.
you guys do the vape. You guys are
Yeah,
vapors.
we stuck on little
You guys are
tubes.
vapors, but yeah, man, I guess I'll give you a concluding thought, which we probably did this last time because I do this with most people, is like,
Yeah.
what advice do you give to people? I mean, especially your age. I mean, we kind of hit on a lot of good things about sharing, but maybe somebody's dropping into this episode, or I'll try to chop up some clips for like social media, and yeah, what do you say to somebody that needs, maybe relates to what you're saying, like they're sensitive and they don't want to be on the meds, but they want to live, but they don't know what, and like, or they're suicidal. It's like we definitely want people to live, but it's like it's hard, man. What do you do with those thoughts? So what do you say to those people?
Well, I'd say the concluding thought, the best thing is uh I think life sucks. It's pretty obvious at this point that
Hmm.
it may not always get better before it gets worse, but there's always, for me anyway, there's been a horizon that you have to get to. It's just about climbing those hills to get to it. So there's never a point where you're completely done. Um, you're done when you say you're done. So it's more of when you think that you can't get that little bit over, you just have to keep pushing and keep fighting because it may not, you may not know, but there's always somebody that will be deeply affected by, if you were to decide I don't want to be here, let's act on it. There's always somebody that you're going to harm besides yourself, and that should never even be a thought in anyone's mind to harm another person. I think that if you need help, talk to somebody that you care about, and it doesn't have to be your parents. I like that doesn't always work, and I understand
Hmm.
that situation very well. Talk to somebody. There's always somebody, and if you feel like you have no one, turn to God. That's one of the first things I'd even recommend doing. That
Hmm.
He's always there. That comfort of knowing there's always a Father that
Yeah.
will be there for you. So I guess that's a good thought. Don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do, and
Yeah.
you decide when you're done.
Yeah. Right on, man. Bro, I appreciate you, man. So what's the best way to people to get a hold of you? Instagram?
Instagram is definitely where I read the DMs. I don't always reply. If you leave mean comments, I will cry.
Yeah, yeah. Don't leave mean comments, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
All right,
that'd be
bro. Well, I
sick.
appreciate your time, man. I'm glad we got to
Of
connect
course.
and talk
Thank
for
you.
like an hour. So,
Yeah,
it's all good. All good. I love it. All right, man. Well, take it easy, and I'll be in touch with you about the episode. So,
of course.
all right, all right,
All
man.
right.
Love you, brother. Okay.
Love you, bro.
Okay. Bye. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you, Dalton, for being on the show. Oblivion Music. He's on Instagram. I'll put links to all of his social media where you can find him. He has music out as well. And I appreciate him taking the time to be vulnerable and talk about what's going on with him. And yeah, man, we'll do it again sometime. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. This is the Louder Now podcast. Email me. I'll put my email in the notes, or Instagram's the thing I'm on the most for social media. If you want to message me anything related to the podcast, any feedback, thoughts, comments, or maybe you want to be a guest someday, that'd be awesome. Let's connect. And yeah, Merry Christmas coming up soon, guys. Merry Christmas month. And yeah, we'll see you next time.